In one of my previous videos, I mentioned that before I used to move from one goal to another without experiencing a lot of emotions. Actually, I felt only the desire to win and the pleasure from my path. And yes, it seems like behavior of the robot that knows its final result and moves to it by any means. I want to add that still I felt a lot of passion from the process. I was amazed by how many things I was able to do. But at the same moment, I didn't pay attention to the rest of my life. I didn't spend time with my friends and I worked up to 16 hours per day. I was 100% focused on self-development and achieving my goals. I felt only confidence and desire to work. And this is an amazing state because you have tons of energy inside and you just need to decide in which direction to push. But at the same time, don't forget to sleep. At that period, I made a lot of conclusions that still help me today. And one of them, I think the most important, was that I developed so-called third-person mode. Its principle is very simple and it's based on video games, because when I was a child I used to spend a lot of time in front of the monitor. In first-person games you see what your character sees, you're just looking through his eyes. But when you play third-person, you're looking at your character from the side. You see all his movements, but understand this is a different man. In my case, the scheme works in a quite simple way. When I'm in this mode, I'm trying to look at myself from a different angle, like from the outside, separating my tiredness, my fears, from what I really want to do, where I want to develop. Think about it. When you play GTA, you're not shy to do anything you want. You're basically just looking at your character and that's it. At the same time, you can just hold down the run button and move without any discomfort for you, because, man, you are sitting in front of the monitor, you are not that character in the video game. And your hero inside the video game simply receives instructions from you, and he is not asking you any questions, he just acting here and now. The essence of the third-person mode is just to separate your leading center, that's your mind, from your executing one, that's your body. You are your consciousness. You perceive the world around you because of your brain that connects all the organs together. Well, I just don't want such things as embarrassment, shame, fear to prevent me from enjoying my journey, and I decided to get rid of them. I started to look at my life as on a movie and stopped to be afraid of anything. You know, it was like a dream in reality, because I started to almost perfectly control my emotions and my body. Perhaps many of you can say, man, it's not life. Why should I limit myself from the spectrum of sensations? But for me personally, at that moment, such emotions were not needed. Moreover, I don't need them now. What's the point of being afraid of what I really want to do? Sometimes, you know, it's quite convenient just to be able to turn it off. By the way, yes, it's like I get inside my head, found the switcher that's responsible, for example, for uncertainty, and just turned it down. Was it easy? No, to be honest, I don't think so at all, because, you know, the most difficult part is just to enter this state. After that, it becomes easier to be inside of it, because its main purpose is to push the boundaries. When you have already become stronger, you know for sure how to become even more powerful. The only time I went a bit overboard was sleep, because I almost never had more than 4 to 5 hours of sleep per day. The best timing for me is to sleep 6 hours a day. After that, when I wake up, I feel cheerful. And when you don't get enough of it for a long time, you become less energized. And in my case, I can fulfill this lack of energy by movement. You think, okay, the main idea here is just not to stop, not to lie on the bed, just working without having any rest. I'm not sure if it works for any of you, but in my situation, if I have something that I'm inspired about, if something makes me more enthusiastic, I don't feel tired anymore, I don't even want to sleep sometimes. By the way, the condition I just described to you, I mean this mode when you work non-stop, yes, for sure, like I have no doubts, you can be extremely very productive in it, but at the same time it can be quite dangerous for you, because first of all you can just burn out, and the second you can run out of your energy and run out of your long-term energy, and in the future you'll need to fulfill it. Please understand me correctly, I'm not talking that you have to hustle hard, because in some situations it's just not an option. So please be very concerned about your health and about your mental condition. And in terms of burning out, yes, it's a bad stuff. I was on it once, and not at the time when I was working like a robot. On the contrary, my burning out happens when all the endless activities just stopped, and I started to think, man, what's happening in your life? why nothing interesting is happening. It was emotionally difficult because I just wanted to be in the flow. I didn't want to get out of it. But this is the topic for some of our future videos. So I want to talk about pros and cons of the third-person mode that I took for myself. And let's start from pros. Once you become fearless, life becomes limitless. This is the phrase by Dan Pena. Do you know who he is? This is the person that I imagine every time when I decide to make an effort and develop instead of lying on a bed. Just find his content on YouTube and you'll understand what I'm talking about. Man, I even have an alarm with his voice. By the way, he has a very hard and clear book called Your First 100 Million. You can find it easily on YouTube as well, like there is an audio book and his performance. Well, you just expand your understanding of possible so much that you just don't want to come to the previous way of thinking. All those big achievements that previously you didn't even consider as an option because of, this fear of mistake, fear of insecurity. You just will ask yourself about them. Why not? And you will start your path to their realization. And gradually you will understand that they are not so unattainable. Expanding your personal horizons is directly related to the development of your self-confidence. I believe all of us who want to be winners in this life. Am I right? So, in my understanding, this is what it is. Only you decide what's possible and what's not, even if you don't have any idea how to reach your boldest desire right now. Everything comes from thinking, and here works one more stuff called accumulated experience. Pretty much it's like a compound effect. The more you develop, the easier it's for you to develop in the future, because first of all, it becomes a habit, and second, you become stronger. In general, I want to say that such skills, such qualities as, for example, the ability to present yourself or to do something right here, right now, with no postponing, it comes from your self-esteem. The person with a low self-esteem is always thinking about whether he needs to make the step because in any case he will fail. And the behavior of the true winner is quite different, because even if he or she is afraid of something, this person goes through this fear. And let's imagine he or she doesn't succeed. It's not a big problem because tomorrow he or she will. Try it. I really hope that you will experience this mental condition that I felt back in the days at the first time. But after that, maybe in a couple of days, I came up with a new idea of a new project. It was about, it was a set of lectures between entrepreneurs and young people who want to develop. If you don't waste your time and use every your minute, you will definitely accomplish all what was planned by the previous you. Most likely this will happen because before you didn't even realize that you can be so productive. You just didn't take 10 tasks at the same time, but now you'll be able to do this and complete them on a decent level. By the way, I don't want to say that you should be focused on 10 things. I believe it's better to be focused on few, not on many. But I just wanted to show you what I'm talking about. When I was approximately maybe 14 years old, I had a diary and I wrote down there every my activity. Like I used the timer to understand how much time I spent for this or that, and I wrote it down to analyze on the end of the day. If you will see how many hours we spent on unnecessary things like stalking on the telephone, you'll be horrified. And I'm not even talking about sleep, although I believe that many people do it much more than their body requires. As Dan Pena says, the best gift you can make to your children is to show them how to be accountable. If you know exactly when and what you will be doing, you'll be able to regulate your time and become extremely efficient. By the way, often people get depressed because they don't see any movements in their life. They seem to have set goals, they even make some steps towards it, but they don't get closer to the checkpoint. There is no movement, and there will not be if you use only 10% of your capabilities. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. Sometimes it's better to kick your ass in order to become the person that you have in your dreams. Do you really want to live a life as someone who understands that he can do a lot but settles for a little? I hardly believe it. Here you need to be able to conduct the proper time management, and in my opinion, the third-person mode helps you to do this perfectly. If you feel that you are too relaxed, try to use it at least for 1 week. Third, even if you already have an amazing life, you'll be more inspired by it. You seem to be immersed in a crazy movie like Fast and Furious, and you'll go nuts seeing what's happening around. And don't get me wrong when I say that I worked like a robot. I don't mean that I didn't feel any emotions at all. It's not like this because I got high on my way. So listen, I felt unrealistically impressed by what I did at the time. Just imagine how much your life will change if you just stop feeling fear. You know exactly where you'll move, right? What I'm talking about is the third-person mode. It's a very powerful tool that can change your mindset. I'm not just referring to video game or a movie with no reason, because in fact it feels the same. Think about how many times you wanted to do something, I mean, you really wanted to do something deep inside, but because of the embarrassment, because of the fear, you didn't. How much did you lose? It's great if your biography has few of these omissions, but in fact, the majority of us, we have a huge list. Often subconsciously we're just trying to prevent ourselves from doing something that will, take us from our comfort zone and put outside of it. Do you want to try a new business but always just find yourself thinking with no action about doing this first step? You'll endlessly postpone this first, the most hard, the most important effort on yourself, but believe me, after that it will be much easier. This is the point of any growth. It doesn't come with no action, and you can't do any action if you're not ready for it. The most obvious thing, I believe that many young men who will be watching this video, guys, you had a lot of situations when you just wanted to meet the girl you like, but with no reason you decided to stop. And after that you just blame yourself because you didn't take the step. So, do you want to get rid of it in the future? Just turn down the switcher inside your head and you'll be able to do not even just more, but something that you didn't dare to start before. Third-person mode really helped me to expand my horizons and change the outlook, change the way how I look in my life. It showed me that much more is achievable than we can even imagine. Yes, it will require time and effort, but still, at that time I felt out of it because I didn't understand where should I direct my forces, because it seemed the time that I already did everything. I think it happened because of the lack of experience. And after that, I didn't make such mistakes anymore, and I will not in the future. Do you think this third-person mode can change your life as well? If yes, please write down in the comments below how. Guys, thank you for watching this video. I really appreciate each of you. I appreciate each of your activity. So if you found it useful, give me your like. If you didn't, give me your dislike. And really hope to see you tomorrow. Thank you.